This meeting is
Hello.
being recorded.
Welcome back. There's a voice there somewhere.
Who said that?
Welcome back. This is another pre-season preview courtesy of us. We are sending off. My name is Sam, and joining me as always is my ever-present podcasting partner, Alex.
All right.
How you doing?
Good. Hi. Yeah, we're joined by what do we call her? The send him off lady.
I think you're on a Hodgy there. I was like, okay.
No, we are joined by well, go on. You know what to do, Sam.
A returning guest from Talk of the Toon podcast. Hodgy, nice to have you back, mate. How's things?
Oh,
How are you doing? Thanks.
Good, yeah.
Right,
We last spoke to you when the new owners came in. Since then, it's not been too bad to be a Newcastle fan, really.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's everyone's a lot more positive than what it was. So I mean, there is that, and there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of goings on. So a lot to talk about, really. To be fair.
Yeah, let's start then. Obviously, last season. If you could sum it up in a couple of words, how would you describe it?
Last season was
chalk and cheese. Absolute chalk
and cheese. Good one. Good one.
Nice.
Yeah, I think what was it? 14 games without a win at the start of the season, and then kind of built up from there. And I think if the table was done from January, I think we would have finished fourth. I think in total, which is not bad going.
It's not bad at all.
That's all right. Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be different this year? Do you think you'll carry that into this year? Are we going for a top 4 finish?
I think we'll be dreaming if we can get top 4. To be honest, I think top 10 would definitely suit me down to the ground. I think that's building. But there are some delirious fans out there who think we are going to be challenging for a Champions League spot. I think if we get Champions League, I'll probably get a tattoo of both your lads' faces on my back. If we get
you hear it here
there
first.
we go. There we go.
I beg.
No, I need Newcastle to come top 4. I need
The best part is nobody knows us. So like you'll just be up in the northeast, and people are like, "Who the hell? Who's tattooed on your ass?" And be like, "Just these 2 boys from South Wales."
Yeah, look, here they are.
Perfect. There we are.
Amazing. Yeah, there we go.
So I've got a couple of stats in front of me. Last season, Callum Wilson top scorer with 8. Doesn't seem a lot, but modest amount. Is he the guy you're looking to this year, or do you think because there's a distinct lack of a striker being brought in that I'm noticing in the window? He's brought in obviously 2 defenders, if you're counting Matt Target as well. Who obviously spent last season on loan, and then Nick Pope, who I think is a really good signing.
That was a quality signing.
Yeah.
There.
I like Dubravka, but that is some competition for that goalkeeper shirt, which I like that. I like when you got 2 high quality goalkeepers.
I think we'll start with Emma since we're talking about them. I think Dubravka's a little bit annoyed that he's not fully number 1 now, so there's been a bit of eruptions about him potentially looking for a move, or it's probably just his agent just trying to swindle a little bit more money out of somebody, or trying to get his player a better contract or some sort of thing. But I think Nick Pope is going to be class, and like you say, having 2 good goalkeepers is well, I think it's a godsend if you've got someone who is a backup who can come straight in and just be class and stop those goals going in, and really shoring it up at back is absolutely bang on the Callum Wilson point. Not very many goals, you'd say, but he also was injured for a long time in the season. I think he pretty much didn't play from January until the last 3 games of the season. So if we can get double of that out of him this year, I think it'll be really good. But we do need to sign a striker quite desperately now. I think that is the last kind of infinity stone to our gauntlet, I think, is what it's going to be. So,
Nice.
Great reference.
Yeah, bring the modern references in now. But yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen, because I mean Chris Wood is still a decentish player, just hasn't found his feet yet. But I would like to see him more as a backup and more of our cup run striker. So we definitely need to bring someone in just as good as or better than Wilson, in my opinion. Like
any names in mind?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
I was interested in that Skamaka, but apparently he's going to West Ham. He would have been quite good. Belotti apparently is on a free transfer. I think that would be a bit of a steal as well. And apparently we've been linked with Memphis Depay from 17 million, I think, for him apparently, which is a steal. But he's not really an out-and-out striker, I would say. He's probably more of a right or left winger.
That's
but yeah,
come out of left
those
field.
names, yeah, I would say he's definitely not like an out and out. So, but another one that would come in on a cheap, probably want a lot of money in a contract, but at the same time, if you're paying not too much from, you can afford that kind of wiggle room with that. But yeah, Belotti would be a good shout. I think I would definitely think so. I think we were talking about Joe Rogan last time potentially being a good signing for us. So
Yeah,
it's definitely it's changed pace now, isn't it?
just a bit. I mean, Botman's come in and he looks quality. He looks like I think he's going to be one of these players that just settles in really well to the Premier League. And well, I was going to say a couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a massive move. But I suppose Newcastle is a massive move these days.
It is a
with
big,
the money that's involved. So, and where they want to take it in a couple of years, by the time he's up for a big move, Newcastle might be in that area. You never know if it goes the way, the way you expect it.
We'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm a little bit apprehensive. I just think there's going to be a lot riding on these boys' shoulders now. There's going to be a lot of pressure from the press, other fans, and our own fans eventually are going to start. If things don't really work out straight away, I think some people will turn. I mean, they've just got to trust in the process. I think they're really thought out in their process, and they're basically trying to copy a bit of what Man City has done. They've pretty much set the blueprint for what to do when you take over a club with some severe coin. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But I think Sven Botman looks like he's going to be an absolute quality player, and hopefully we are the big move in the future. I'd like to see. I'd hopefully see that in my lifetime. Please God, if I can see Newcastle win a trophy or something, would be fantastic. But like I say, it's what happens next. Who knows? But if we start signing and keep signing players like Sven Botman, I think we're definitely onto a winner. I would have thought anyway.
Yeah. How important is Bruno?
Massively. Yeah, you can see his different quality, his different class. He thinks 3 steps ahead of anyone in our team. He's just got a good. He's not the quickest, but he's got good touch. He's good self-awareness, and he's clever enough to get himself out of sticky situations. So I'm looking for him to really rally this year and be our superstar by the end of the season. I hope he gets all the accolades that should be coming his way, because he, like I say, he is absolutely top quality. Hopefully we can keep our kind of trajectory going and he doesn't look as if he wants to leave and go anywhere, because that would be a real shame. And if he went to somewhere else in the Premier League, I'd just be completely gutted, because I know he'll just do us over by being the player that he is.
You mentioned you just answered my... Oh, go on. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, are there any other key players like you'd sort of put in his bracket as well that you'd be pretty gutted to let go last minute?
I would say, yeah, probably Callum Wilson. I think he's quality. I think he's come to us more of it in the later stages of career, but I still think he's pretty dangerous. Like, he can create something out of pretty much nothing. It's just a shame that he's made out of Tic Tac shells, to be fair. Like, it's just been unfortunate for him in that situation that things have happened. Joe Linton's been an absolute godsend since he got put in the midfield, and he's been class, and people have been sniffing about, but he's pretty settled up here at the minute, which is nice. And he's got his Brazilian centre mid partner there in Bruno, so I think he's probably quite happy. So I wouldn't see anyone leaving as such at the minute. I don't think there's enough pressure on anyone to be leaving like that. Whether or not we get good money offer for, say, someone like ASM, someone might come in late doors and offer 35-40 million, and I think it's something that we'd probably look to take if we could then reuse that in January, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing with Sam Maximan. I'm torn with him. Like, obviously, I don't watch Newcastle week in, week out, and he's an important player. I think he had more assists than anybody last year, but for me, he's a little bit hit and miss whenever I've watched him, and he doesn't strike me as the key guy. And I think for 35 and 40 million, if you say, like you said, I think you can get better players for that, and I think they'll know that.
About key. I feel like he's like the superstar kind of thing. Like, he won't always have to turn up and perform, but when he does, it always matters when he seems to. But
he's box office when he wants to be, isn't he?
Exactly.
100%.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think what we need is consistency right now, though. And yes, on his day, he can literally turn anyone inside out. But it like you say, it comes in drips and drabs. His defensive work rate is pretty damn poor. He sulks loads. If he gets knocked off the ball, his confidence just absolutely just blows up. So it's a catch-22, because yes, he's exciting, and it was good when we had him, because he was the number one person under Bruce, because he basically was the only outlet for excitement. There was no one else, and there was definitely nothing going to come from Bruce that was going to give us any excitement apart from him actually leaving, which was great. But like, just say consistency, I think, especially on like what we've got in and now, and Pope very consistent, Botman very consistent, Gamara is very consistent, even Joe Linton being very consistent, even getting Matty Target I think is a really good signing, because he is Mr. Consistency at left back, and to have someone that further up the field where those kind of players make the difference at the end of the season, but winning games and scoring goals and making sure that it happens on a regular basis, just not score 3 one week but then play horrific for the next 6 games. Like that's what we need in the run.
Yeah. How's the mood amongst Newcastle fans? Is it a bit strange feeling this positive going into a season?
Yeah, it's something that we just don't have, or haven't had since probably the late 90s, early 2000s. I think, honestly, I still think I'm going to wake up and it's all going to be a dream, and that we're still owned by Mike Ashley, and it's still grey and drab. But I don't know what to think of it. I think we've got Forest and then Brighton first 2 games, and then I think we get Man City in the 3rd game. If we can take two victories going into Man City, I think we could feel very confident to try and take a point. But Brighton are bogey team, and Forest have just come into the Premier League, so they're going to be absolutely up for it. So there's no easy start to a season. I'd like to see how we're doing after about 5 or 6, and I'll be able to give you a good kind of feeling on what we're going to do. But if we can continue our form from last season, then the world's our oyster, really.
Yeah.
Hopefully not enough to get your faces on my arse, but we'll see.
Not
Definitely,
that good.
we'll hold you to that, mind.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Have you got any other tattoos? Just quickly, have you got any?
No.
Oh, the first one. The first one. Please.
Beautiful. Lovely. So where's your sort of, so if you can give us a realistic expectation of where, actually we'll save that for now. Where would you be happy with?
Where would you be happy with? He's going to say 5th, isn't he?
9th or 10th. I would be.
That's fair.
I'd be pretty happy with that. I don't really want a cup run, to be honest. I'm not bothered. I don't think there's much you can get out of it apart from going all the way in the FA Cup to get some sort of Europa space. That's not our priority right now. Our priority is building and climbing up that ladder. Whether it takes 8 years to get there, or it takes 2 years to get there, or 20 years, it's all focus about building and pushing up that table. So yeah, 9th. I'd say 9th if I'm going to go for a solid position. 9th. I would be delighted with anything more than that.
I think I agree.
I think
other than like Klopp and Guardiola, I think Eddie Howe has one of the most secure jobs in the league this season. Just because I think everybody recognizes this is transition still. I know he's had a window or 2 now with, but he's had a summer window with the back in, but this is going to be, from where they were to where they want to be.
I'm very interested.
That's not a 2-year, process.
I'm very interested to see what position you'll be in at the end of this season. I think I'm the most interested to see when Newcastle are going to go over the course of this season out of everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard for us this season because Leicester aren't going to be as crap as they were last year.
Okay.
I can put money on that. West Ham have made some nice signings. I mean, there's a couple of other teams in there that could definitely turn up and come from out of nowhere, like Brighton last season. Like, they were absolutely class, and I think they'll probably do really well again under Graham Potter. So there's that area of the table is getting very compact. I think this is going to be this Premier League season. I'm really excited to see, just as a football fan, because I think it's going to be very, very competitive.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very tight again, kind of the top end and the bottom end, but even the middle is just going to be so compact with teams just vying for that top 10, top 9, even just scraping into some sort of Europa as well. So it's going to be an absolute cracker of a season, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's lovely to watch this one from the second tier as a
Yeah,
fan.
it is.
Lovely.
It really
It's
is
really
actually.
nice to watch this from the second tier. And as a podcast, that's really, really exciting going into this season. Just because, as you said, like we did our predictions, like we did our table just before we came on, and we're gonna post it, but I'll leak the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
we had Newcastle at 8th. We think
Yeah,
you're in for a really good season, and I think potentially, depending on what happens, because I think West Ham are really going to be up for the Conference League, which then that's a ticket to Europa League, isn't it? I really think City and Liverpool might be challenging for the Champions League, which means there's an extra. No, there's not an extra spot there, is there? But I think, I think Arsenal. I think it's who's in the Europa League this year. United,
Arsenal,
they're not winning it.
yeah.
Never mind. But I think that could, where the extra European space is when people win cups.
Yeah.
Could well bump you up to a little conference spot.
Well, I mean, any kind of foreign football next year, I think would be good. But yeah, honestly, like I keep having like confidence spikes and then complete depression dips of just thinking of how the season is going to go. Like it's a mad situation to be in. It's something that we've never had, like I say, we've never had kind of before, and we'll see how it all pans out. This is what must be like being an Arsenal fan constantly, I would think. They're already up and down, aren't
they? Yeah, the thing is, though, I think with Newcastle, it's just not a priority this year, which I think means they're going to play with a lot more freedom, and they are just going to be all right with just finishing in that top 10. As they were 11th last year, so anywhere in that top 10 is progress and it's positive. So I think, I think Arsenal, United, I think Arsenal finished fairly comfortably top 4 or 5, but United and West Ham, I think their fans now expect it. Well, of course United do, but West Ham fans sort of expect it. There's an expectation. There's no expectation on Newcastle, really. Like,
I think that'll come into your hands a bit. I think it's going to play quite well into Newcastle's hands because you're not expecting it. You'll play with that freedom, like Sam said, and I think you will surprise. I would not be at all surprised to see Newcastle finish above United. We've tipped Newcastle to finish just below United, but if it happened, I
wouldn't be amazed. No,
yeah,
me neither.
But
for sure.
We'll see.
Where are we? I can't remember what we've asked them. What we haven't now.
Oh, go on. We said earlier on about the key players who you mentioned, like, honestly, Maximum, blah, blah, whoever it was. Are there any players in that Newcastle team that you think won't get the plaudits that they deserve? So, like, any underrated players or players that will slip under the radar?
Good question. Players that will slip under the radar, I think someone like Matt Target, like I say, Mr. Consistent, but never really gets the praise for it as such. I mean, he does to a certain extent. I mean, compared to what we've had previously, he'll definitely get it. I think Fabian Schär as well, every now and again, he pulls a performance out of nowhere and he just looks like a different class of footballer sometimes, but sometimes makes one key error. So it could be anyone really in the back. Towards the end of the season, last season, we were keeping a lot of kind of clean sheets and not really conceding many goals, and I think people were a bit shocked at how good we could defend, like with Eddie Howe's tactics and stuff. So I honestly could say anyone kind of at the back, like even Dubravka. I think some of the saves that he makes the game look very easy at some points. I think Dubravka and Nick Pope will be unsung heroes this season. I think they're two very, very solid keepers, and when you've got, like I said earlier, if you've got one backing up the other, I don't think you can go wrong at all. Even if you want to just use it cup run or normal rotation, that's a very solid thing to have, and not a lot of teams have that.
No, definitely. Yeah. Dan Burn struck me last year as the unsung hero. I always find it's the short back and sides footballers, as I call them. Like even Matt Target, he is a bit, like he does a lot of the unseen work, but he's not going to set the world alight. But you need those players, and I really like Matt Target. I'm surprised. Like I didn't understand Villa letting him go and bringing in Luca Digne. Personally, I don't think there's that much difference. I think from set plays, obviously Digne is dangerous, but I think Matt Target's a solid left back, and he might be one who might have one eye on Qatar as well. With because Luke Shaw's not playing much for United, or he might. Well, it doesn't look like he will be because that Malacia's come in. So maybe a little England call up for Matt Target.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be good to have another England international in the side. That'd be a right back and a left back if that happens. If Trips gets back in the full squad for Qatar as well. But another unsung hero actually would be Ryan Fraser. Actually, he turned it on under Howe. Obviously a previous relationship there, but he was class. I mean, he was nowhere really seen early on in his Newcastle career. I mean, actually, his debut game, he got sent off. Got 2 yellow cards in the space of about 4 minutes. And everyone was saying you need to do something really special to get back in the good books. And by the end of the season, everyone was singing his plaudits left, right, and centre.
How quickly it can change.
Yeah, I know.
It's a metaphor for Newcastle season, to be fair, really. Well, there we are. I think we've mainly covered everything, really. I think so. I just want Hodgy a prediction. If you want to put your neck on the line, you've already done it with a tattoo bet, but if you can do it again and give us a definitive number of where Newcastle United are going to finish this season.
I think I'll back your 8th position. Actually, you've twisted me on. I think 8 could definitely be obtainable. I don't think any higher. I think the league is going to be very tough this season, but that would be a stellar outcome for us to finish top 8.
There we are, 8th. That is the official verdict. Seal of approval.
Seal of approval. On the arse.
Hodgy, it's always a pleasure chatting to you, mate. Thank you for joining us again. Do you want to take a couple of moments just to tell people where they can listen, where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so any kind of normal platform, Spotify, Acast, Apple Podcasts, just search for Talk of the Toon, or if you type in TOTT, you might get it as well. Instagram, TOTT_podcast. Type in Talk of the Toon on Twitter, and you can find us on there, and on Facebook as well. Just do the same. If you know a mad Newcastle fan, point them our way, and I'm sure we can put a smile on their face. I'm sure.
Happy days.
Sorted. There we are. Well, thank you for joining us. Best of luck for the season, mate, and I'm sure we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers,
you,
guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you soon with another Premier League preview. Whoever's
which
next.
Which one it'll be?
It's a mystery. It always is. We'll catch you soon. Ta-ra.
Take care.